She walked into my life once with a sparkle in her eyes and a ring on her finger that I had chosen with my heart. We had shared dreams, laughter, and promises that were supposed to last a lifetime. I remember the first night we picked that ring together, the way she traced its curves with her fingers, the soft sigh that escaped her lips, and how I swore I would do anything to keep that smile forever. Back then, love felt invincible, untouchable by the outside world. But somewhere along the way, the spark I thought was eternal began to flicker. It wasn't sudden, it was subtle. The messages on her phone, the little excuses, the late nights she couldn't explain, they all built a quiet storm that I refused to see. I wanted to believe it was stress, work, or the chaos of life. But deep down, I knew the truth was creeping closer with every passing day. The day she walked into a jewelry store and tried on a ring without me, I felt the first real pang of doubt. My heart thudded as I watched the image she posted later online, a new ring, perfectly framed on her delicate finger, accompanied by a smile I no longer recognized. And there he was in the background of her post, another man, his arm casually wrapped around her waist. That day, the world felt colder, emptier, like someone had muted the color from my life. I didn't react immediately. I didn't shout, I didn't confront her publicly. I watched. I observed. The quiet became my ally. Every shared memory, every whispered promise, and every intimate detail she had once treasured seemed to hang in the air, waiting for the moment I would reclaim them. But this time, I didn't want screams or heartbreak. I wanted justice, calm, precise, undeniable justice. Weeks passed, and her posts grew bolder, her life moving forward with a casual disregard for what we had. Friends whispered, family noticed, but I held my tongue. I spent my nights poring over legal documents, understanding rights, ownership, and contracts that could protect what was mine. It wasn't about vengeance, at least, not in the traditional sense. It was about reclaiming the respect she had thrown away with that new ring and that careless laugh. I hired a lawyer, someone who understood that sometimes love and law intersect in ways that hurt less than a fist but still leave a mark. We drafted agreements, notices, and claims, paperwork that reminded her that promises, even broken ones, carry weight. She had chosen a new man, a new life, but I realized that in America, in the world we live in, promises weren't just sentimental, they were binding, enforceable, and tangible. The day I served the documents, I watched her face closely. There was shock, confusion, and then the slow realization that the life she thought she had freely walked into had consequences. Her laughter faded, replaced by the weight of decisions she hadn't considered carefully. I didn't gloat, didn't raise my voice. I simply handed over the papers and walked away, leaving her to process the truth she had ignored. In the silence that followed, I felt a strange mix of liberation and sorrow. Love had turned into law, intimacy into contracts, and promises into signatures. Yet, I didn't regret a single moment of what I had done. She had chosen her path, and I had chosen mine, a path where respect and fairness weren't negotiable, where betrayal had its own reckoning. Friends asked why I didn't react with anger, why I didn't crumble or lash out. But they didn't understand. This wasn't about revenge in the dramatic, fiery sense. It was about reclaiming dignity. It was about showing that while she could move on, she couldn't erase history. And the cold precision of legal paperwork, in that moment, spoke louder than any scream or confrontation ever could. Later, I reflected on the strange poetry of the situation. She had chosen a new ring, a new man, thinking it would bring her happiness. And in doing so, she had forgotten that every choice has consequences. I didn't ruin her life, the choices she made did that themselves. I simply mirrored them back with clarity, a mirror polished in law and principle, not emotion. As I moved forward, the memories remained, bittersweet and instructive. I learned that love is fragile, yes, but integrity and self-respect are stronger than heartbreak. I returned her old promises not with anger, not with tears, but with a firm reminder that actions matter and that even in betrayal, one can find a sense of closure that is quiet, powerful, and complete. And now, when I see her from afar, laughing with that new man, I don't feel envy or rage. I feel the calm satisfaction of knowing that life has a balance, and that sometimes, the best revenge is simply letting truth and consequence follow their course. She may have chosen a new ring, a new man, but I had returned what she had abandoned in the only way that truly mattered, with certainty, dignity, and the unshakable force of law. In the end, love is fleeting, but justice, even in its quietest form, lasts forever. And as I close this chapter, I realize that the heart heals not through possession or attachment, but through knowing that betrayal, however clever, always carries its own cost. Did this story touch your heart? Tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so more hearts can feel these stories too.